You're tired of neurotypical doctors who do not understand what it actually means to be neurodivergent. You're sick of therapists who keep recommending the same shit to you that literally doesn't help. You're ready for something different. You want to talk to and learn from actually neurodivergent people who get it. Well, here are 22 neurodivergent content creators you should go follow immediately. Up first is Caitlin Signorelli. She is a confidence and mindset strategist, and she has ADHD. You can follow her on Instagram at confidently_ADHD. And one area that she talks about a lot that I think she is really proficient in discussing is the effects that your menstrual cycle has on your ADHD symptoms. Up next is Kelsey Silver, who also has ADHD. She is an operations strategist and primarily works with neurodivergent entrepreneurs. And you can follow her on Instagram at Kelsey E. Silver. Up next, we have Camille Aponte, and they are auDHD, meaning they are both autistic and ADHD. They are a neuro-inclusive coach and consultant, and one area that they consider themselves to be really strong in and really confident in is talking about special interests and monotropism. Now, this is something I am slowly but surely starting to learn more about, and I'm totally fascinated by, so definitely go check out their work. You can follow them on Instagram at Harmonic Divergence. Next up is Sarah, and she is a content creator primarily on TikTok. You can follow her at Saran_rap. She is another auDHDer, and one area of her content that I have really enjoyed is her discussion about misdiagnosis, especially as a person of color. Next up, we have a licensed certified social worker, so a therapist who is actually neurodivergent herself. This is Christine Murray, and she is auDHD and has CPTSD. Her handle on Instagram is Social Worker Christine, and one area that I have found that she talks about a lot is like accommodations for sensory processing differences. Then we have Shauna, who is one of my favorite mutuals over on TikTok. Her handle is Maybe It's Me, Maybe It's auDHD, which by the way is a great handle. And she is an ACE certified health coach. And one area that she likes to talk about a lot is the body, basically, is somatics, how to do body work in order to heal and improve aspects of your life as a neurodivergent person. And she herself is the PDA profile of autism, so pathological demand avoidance or persistent drive for autonomy, whichever one you prefer. And she also has OCD and ADHD. Another great content creator in the world of neurodivergence is Rebecca, aka Ricky Faith Quinn. They talk a ton about autism and feminism, and I think this is such an important topic. I love it. And really, Ricky has some of the most compassionate, nuanced, unapologetic takes on this topic that I've seen. And Ricky themselves is autistic. Then we have another licensed social worker / therapist, Shelby Williams. She is both auDHD and has CPTSD, and something that she talks about a lot is the fact that trauma is a form of neurodivergence. It is not just ADHD and autism, people. There are so many other forms of neurodivergence out there, including acquired neurodivergence, which is neurodivergence which is basically just means that your brain is significantly different in some way. And so trauma changes the brain. Therefore, it is a type of neurodivergence. And Shelby talks about this a lot. Up next, we have Jamila Perry, who is a content creator. You can follow her at black_girl_uninterrupted on Instagram. And Jamila has bipolar disorder. And she talks a lot about how her bipolar intersects with her grief because she recently lost her father. And it's been really difficult. And it's been really inspiring, and not just inspiring, also just relatable and interesting to see Jamila talk about how, grief is not just for people without mental illness. Sometimes people who deal with mental illness or neurodivergence also are dealing with other factors like grief, like loss. Up next, we have Desi the artist. They are an artist and a content creator, and they are auDHD as well. And something that they talk about a lot on their TikTok, which is at Desi the artist, is parenting as a neurodivergent person, both their own parents and then themselves as a parent. So seeing that double angle is really fascinating, and Desi does a great job talking about it. Then we have Jess Diverges, at Jess Diverges on both TikTok and Instagram. Jess is incredible. There's really nothing else to say. If you are auDHD, because Jess is auDHD and they are an auDHD coach, you really absolutely have to follow them. They talk about everything, but something they've been talking a lot about recently is shame and the idea of self-sabotage and how they don't believe it's like a thing and they want us to stop shaming our shame. And I love that. Up next, we have Elena Chambers, who you can follow on TikTok at ElenaChambers_, and they have dyscalculia, which you may have heard of as like the dyslexia of math, but it's actually so much more than that. And Elena talks all about that, but not just about that. Elena is a broader disability advocate, like in general. And something that they've been talking about a lot is like unexpected accommodations that you can ask for. So if you're looking for practical tips, Elena's your person. Next up, we have a joint account. So it's called Black Girl ADHD, and it's run by Adrena Vines and Marissa Ford. They are incredible. Their account is incredible. They don't have a ton of followers yet, so let's go change that, because seriously, their stuff is so helpful. If you're a Black woman and you have ADHD, there's really no better resource. Up next, we have Sheila Henson. She is an ADHD and neurodiversity coach. You can find her on socials at ADHD Coach Sheila. And she talks a lot about ADHD, obviously, but something else she talks about that I think is super interesting is her experience with ARFID, which is Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder. And Sheila talks a lot about how it's more than just really picky eating, which is, you know, sometimes how it's characterized. The next person I am pretty sure most of you have heard of. Her name is Layla Saad. She is the best-selling author of Me and White Supremacy. So she's an amazing anti-racism advocate. And in addition to that, she is also autistic and ADHD. And this is something she has been discovering over the last year or so and has been posting about more and more. And I just so appreciate her insights, especially when the worlds of anti-racism and neurodivergence start to intersect. Next up is Sharona Lauteau. They are a thinker, writer, creator, and general fangirl, self-described. And they are I Am Shaza Blue on TikTok. And they post about a lot of different neurodivergent content. They also post about a lot of activism. And I think if you're looking to be an activist as an auDHD person and you're wondering how to do that with, you know, some of our very real limitations, I think Sharona's a great person to follow. Next up is Georgia Holiday. We are mutuals over on Instagram, where you can follow her at GeorgiaHoliday_. And she is also auDHD, autistic and ADHD. She's a neurodivergent content creator, advocate, and writer, and a new bookstore owner, by the way, which is just like so cool. And something that she's been talking about a lot is the phenomenon of skill regression, especially in late diagnosed ADHDers. So if you have ever wondered, like, why is it that I used to be able to do all this stuff and like I can't anymore? Go follow Georgia, she'll explain it. Our next creator you need to go follow is Josh Tarrant. They are auDHD, they have OCD, anxiety, and PTSD. So if you have like the alphabet soup and sometimes you start to feel like I have too many diagnoses, like no one can possibly relate, Josh can. You can follow them over on TikTok at Neurodiverse Dragon, but bear in mind, neurodiverse is spelled with the U and the E at the beginning, flip-flopped, so it's N-U-E instead of N-E-U. Next up is Jean Lee. Jean and I have been mutuals on TikTok for a long time, and I literally cannot tell you how much their activism and insights have shaped the way that I view myself and the world. If you are an autistic person who considers to have a strong sense of justice, as many of us do, you need to follow Jean. You can follow them on TikTok at alina.jean. All right, the next one is for all my hyperlexic, hyperverbal autistic folks out there, and this is Annalie Wright. She is at Nobody Special For Real on TikTok, and she talks about hyperverbal and hyperlexic autism a lot, and she does it in a hyperverbal way. Annalie is hyperverbal and hyperlexic herself, and she talks a lot about that experience, and she explains it in a way that other hyperverbal and hyperlexic folks will appreciate, because it involves a lot of talking. It's not necessarily the most succinct thing in the world. It's, you know, robust and well explained. Next up is Dr. Chelsea Potts. She is on TikTok at Heavy on the DR, as in doctor, and she actually created an unmasking process that went viral on TikTok because it is so good. So if you have been working on unmasking, Dr. Potts is absolutely your person. And finally, the last person I want to recommend is me. If you're watching this video and you're not already following me on Instagram and TikTok and listening to my podcast, podcast. I literally create so much content just for you. So there's lots of places that you can follow me. I'm on TikTok at Meg Moxie. I'm on Instagram at neurodivergent_magic. And I have a podcast called the Neurodivergent Magic Podcast. Now, if all of these folks sound incredible and you want to learn as much as possible from them, I really encourage you to come to the Neurodivergent Lived Experience Summit. Every single one of these people will be speaking at that summit. It is going to be so unbelievably good. Every single one of these people will be speaking at the summit. They will each have a 20 to 40 minute presentation that will be streamed live into the summit Facebook group. If you hate Facebook, don't worry. You can buy the super affordable goodie bag and get all of the replays of the presentations without having to set foot on Facebook. If you're interested in attending live or getting the goodie bag, go to the link in the description, register, and then you will have an opportunity to buy the goodie bag if that is what you'd prefer to do. Oh, and did I mention that this event is completely virtual and totally free? The goodie bag is like an extra add-on that you can buy if you like, but if you want to just come to the Facebook group, watch the presentations, learn what you can, completely free, no charge. Why? Because this information needs to be accessible. Lived experience should be accessible. The summit will take place from January 5th through January 7th. That is Friday through Sunday, so it's over the weekend. And again, if you can't watch live, the goodie bag is available, but also the replays will be available for 24 hours. A ton of love and hard work has gone into this event, and I would really love to see you there. But in the meantime, go follow all of our incredible speakers, and I will talk to you tomorrow.